I'm a software engineer working with data at Pinterest. So as you may know, Pinterest is a discovery service that you can find your inspiration for your interest. So as of today, we have more than 30 billion pings, and we have more than tens of millions of users using our service every day. So you can imagine with so many users interacting with so many pings, we have collected more than petabytes of data in order to understand the user behavior and improve our product. So sorry I didn't prepare any slides today. Otherwise, I'll be glad to share you some of the most inspiring pings. So in this talk, I'm going to focus on how Redshift changes the way we do interactive analysis at Pinterest. So when I joined Pinterest last year, Hadoop and its ecosystem like Hive was our only option to analyze our petabytes of data. So Hadoop is still very powerful, and we still use it every day to generate thousands of reports and also build our recommendation engine on top of it. But Hadoop was invented for massive processing, the batch processing, so it was not really suitable for this interactive analysis. A common Hadoop or Hive query can easily take tens of minutes or even a few hours to run. So it's very common that people just run a Hive query and go get some coffee while they are waiting for the results. So why is interactive analysis important? It's simply the first step of extracting the data, extracting the value out of your data. So you start playing with the data, you extract value, you find the insights, and then you convert those frequent running queries into reports, so you don't need to run them every day. But still, many times, you just want to pull some data, pull some numbers out of your data, and answer some quick analysis. So it's way more efficient to interact with data directly, other than building reports every time. So the first thing I did at Pinterest is to optimize our interactive analysis. So how we did it? We use Amazon Redshift, which is a new data warehouse offered by AWS. It's amazingly fast, but also reliable and cost-effective. So we started pushing our core data from Hadoop to Redshift, which itself is a big challenge that we solved. But after data is available in Redshift, now the same query that usually takes tens of minutes or a few hours in Hive only take a few seconds in Redshift. And you can imagine how tremendously it changed the way we interact with data. So people now can just keep running queries one after another, and we don't even necessarily have coffee while waiting for a result, but we can quickly iterate through our hypothesis. So as a result, now more and more people at Pinterest start playing with data directly. So engineers, product managers, data scientists, business analysts all use data to inform their day-to-day decisions. And the interactive analysis is a great way to identify the new opportunities, which can be followed by well-designed A/B experiments to further validate the hypothesis and experiment, the improvement. So let me give some successful stories of how we use data. So first, let's talk about our user growth. So our growth team is always looking for opportunities to increase our user growth. So they run a lot of Redshift queries to find the places where the conversion rates are lower than they think. So they try to optimize those places. So one of the places was our sign-up page. So we found a lot of people arriving on our sign-up page but didn't complete the sign-up process. And one of the hypotheses is the sign-up page didn't help the user understand what is Pinterest. So they tried out a very simple but smart idea, which was showing some concrete examples of how people use Pinterest. For example, they use Pinterest to plan their dream trip, so that it can help people understand that Pinterest is not just a photo sharing service, but it's a discovery tool for inspiration. And as a result, the conversion rate of the sign-up page was increased by 16%. Let me give you another example of how we increase our user growth by looking at data. So we encourage people to share the good content they found on Pinterest to other social networks like Facebook and Twitter. And our growth team ran some queries and found that the number of sharings was not that many, and most sharings went to Facebook. So they came up with another simple idea that they dropped the other social networks and they only promote the Facebook sharing button, so that previously people need to click twice to share to Facebook, but now we only have an exclusive Facebook sharing button, and as a result it's more intuitive to share. And we ran experiments and the number of sharings increased by more than 150%. And in return, the traffic from Facebook to Pinterest increased also by 100%, doubled. So let me give you another example of how we use data to increase the user engagement. So as we are expanding to more and more countries, our internalization team is closely monitoring all the user engagement metrics across different countries. Here we define the engagement metrics as the DAU, also as the number of pinners and repinners who repeat the content from their feed. So they found that some countries didn't have a good user engagement. And one of the hypotheses is those users didn't like the content we suggested to them. So we ran an experiment to use the localized content to generate a localized feed for these countries. And after the experiment, our data scientists ran a lot of Redshift queries to interpret the experiment result carefully to make sure the experiment was effective. But the result was actually interesting. So we found that for the non-English speaking countries like Germany and Japan, the localized feed did improve the user engagement. But on the other hand, for the English speaking countries like Australia, the localized feed was not as good as the global English feed, simply because there is a lot more good content from US users. So instead of applying this localized feed to all these countries, we only apply to these non-English speaking countries. So from these examples, you can see that the Redshift and interactive analysis is playing an important role both in terms of identifying the opportunities, but also help making better product decisions. But what is not that obvious here is that it also changed people's mind of thinking about our petabytes of data, which used to be slow and complicated to analyze, but now becomes much more easier and faster to analyze because of these new technologies. So this is my talk. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jay. All right, next.